welcome Irene to How I Got Successful podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's so exciting to be sharing knowledge with all over the globe. I'm loving it. And thank you for doing this. This podcast is really, really highly valuable for all the people who are watching globally.
That's great. Irene, you have a diverse background in psychology and pedagogy. How did you discover your passion for these fields and what drove you to pursue a career in coaching?
All right, thanks for this question. Well, since a very young age, I was a very highly emotionally intelligent person, and I had, as people were saying, a genius superpower. I was starting from primary school reading books like Victor Hugo and books that they were really big. They were not for that age. And people were thinking that I'm a genius. And I'm laughing also because I was also a very happy person, always. I'm laughing. I love laughing. My grandmother was calling me Hahanouliko in Greece. I'm coming from Greece. As I said, I don't know if it was in the recording, my name means peace. And it's something that I had this feeling that I want to be transmitting this with others. And it's something that I was enjoying doing, transmitting positive energy. It's like I was born with this gift of happiness, and I had it inside and I wanted to give it. And I started my journey through pedagogy actually accidentally, because it was my goal to be studying psychology or English literature, because I loved English a lot and I always wanted to be traveling and going abroad. I knew that since a very young age. As I was expanding, my mental capacity through reading and my imagination. And I loved interculturalism, learning other cultures and sharing also my culture and exchanging, this intercultural exchange. I loved it, and I started since a very young age in high school going abroad to exchange programs. My first exchange program was in Turkey, and I learned how amazingly similar we are. Even though between Turkey and Greece, in the history school subjects, they were teaching us, regarding the wars. All countries, I'm sure in India it's the same. All countries, you're learning that your neighbors are enemies.
Yeah.
Because of the past, But this should change. It's not like this. I'm teaching right now peace education, so. After going to Turkey and my first exchange program was called Building Bridges of Peace between Turkey and Greece. And it was an amazing journey. I felt like I'm adapted, and even though we didn't speak the same language, they didn't speak English, I didn't speak Turkish, we were totally outside of our comfort zone. I was living in a Turkish family for 1 week with a girl who was hosting me, and we were talking through Google Translation for the first day. And it was just an amazing experience. So amazing that they were crying before I left. I mean, it was the first time in my life that I realized, okay, that's it. That's what I'm enjoying doing, learning other cultures and living abroad. And that was just the beginning, and I was just 15 years old.
Oh.
And then, yes, I did it. I did again a mission in the Middle East in Sivas and Cappadocia. It was in Turkey again. And during the coup, when the army was trying to get the government, Erdogan, I was there. And people were thinking I was dead because all the internet wasn't working. We were people from all over the globe, from many countries. And the only thing we had to communicate was the embassy. So there were people from Italy, from all over Europe actually. And we were in a small town in Turkey. and people were thinking we were dead, and there was no internet. It was so fun because actually I realized also the difference between what the media is showing and what's happening in reality, because the whole globe was showing that, things are terrible, we're not allowed to go outside, and actually they were telling us don't go outside. And I was again like a teenager, very young, first year of the university when I started studying in Greece, education and teaching. And I was very courageous, I had the courage, I was brave, and I had the curiosity to learn. So I went, of course, outside in the center with two guys, and it was like a celebration. People were going outside, like imagine a country winning the football cup, for example. That was the situation in Turkey at that moment. And people were going outside celebrating that the government won. So the media was showing that we're dying. Anyway, it could be worse, I guess, but fortunately everything was fine. Then the airport opened. Of course, people were, army was everywhere, but it wasn't dangerous at all. And the thing actually in education, which is very interesting, is that through studying education, I learned all the greatest teaching and educational methodologies and how amazing education can be, how liberating, how freeing. It's freeing the mind, it's freeing the soul. You're enjoying learning, right? And in reality, I saw something totally different. I saw children being obliged to sit on a chair while they want to be, moving around, and it's something that is causing them so much stress. The schooling is so traditional. So I was working in schools during the first years. We had 3 years of practice as well. And I had all these great methodologies that I wanted to teach, but I saw that the traditional system is actually very far from what it should be. So this started, I promised to myself that I would never be a teacher that I wouldn't be enjoying having as a student, So I embarked on a journey. I studied in Czech Republic. I left for 1 year through Erasmus program, exchange program again. And I wanted to do a research in different systems all over the globe and bilingual schools. And I started going to great international schools, learning great methodologies. And I lived 1 year, so many great adventures that I am writing books right now, and I want to be making a film just because of all these great journeys I've lived. And I learned so many things. So after doing this, then the university just closed the door and said, we're not accepting any research that is happening abroad, outside of Greece. All right, I said, and I was going just for 6 months in the beginning. So that didn't stop me, actually. I said that's for sure happening. And actually, I prolonged my stay abroad for 1 year. I finished all my subjects abroad while traveling, having fun at the same time with my friends from all over the globe, because we were living in a huge, big building. People from literally all over the globe, Indians too. I had my, everywhere, all over the globe. We were cooking together, it was a huge celebration of interculturalism. It's and actually creating a new great global culture. We were playing every day volleyball together, we were eating together, cooking in the same kitchen, with people that are so different from you, but it's always a great exchange and a great, huge positive vibe. from young people loving each other and wanting to learn. And it's the first also thing I learned since a very young age. So I started traveling. I finished everything for my studies, and I returned to Greece. I did a research with refugees in Crete. I'm coming from Crete. It's the biggest island of Greece. And it was in 2017, the refugee crisis. So all the people from Asia, Africa were coming from the war in Syria, from the war in Afghanistan. They were coming in Europe through Greece. And this caused a huge, panic because they were not prepared. We didn't have the organization, as a country to be accepting that. And people were, there was ethnicism too, and patriotism and racism on the one hand, and on the other hand, people like me and other local people who were trying to help. And we were organizing ourselves in our community ways to be helping refugees through our self-organization and giving them, food, giving them clothes, because they were living in tents. And I was also volunteering in Athens. It was an amazing journey. Actually, with refugees, we were living with them basically every day. I was playing with the children, and I was mediating between the police and the refugees to help them with translation and everything. And I still remember one guy, refugee father, telling me, "You're giving us hope." And I'm ready to cry right now, because this is something that I'm doing. Everything I'm doing since then and from my birth is to be helping others. I'm enjoying helping others. But I was so overgiving that I literally I fainted. I was with my boyfriend back then, and I was playing all day with children. They were jumping on me, running, playing, and I fainted. They took me to the hospital, and I realized that, okay, after that, I started setting the healthy limits of what is giving and what is overgiving, and that you need to be helping yourself first, like they were teaching us, the flight attendants, when you are flying in the airplane, she's saying, when there is something wrong going on, you need to put the mask, even if you have children next to you, firstly on you and then to the child. And when I was a young child, I couldn't understand this. I was like, what? Give it to the child immediately. Why? And this was a huge lesson I learned later in my life, throughout my journey, to be helping if you want to change the world, if you want to help people, you need to be helping yourself first. So I began a journey of self-care as well, and learning great strategies of self-healing too, and self-caring and self-loving and well-being. And also, I always wanted to study psychology. I was interested in how the brain is working, and through my studies, I was studying a lot developmental psychology. Obviously, even in education, we had many courses of psychology, and I took many courses abroad as well. And I decided to have a master's in psychology so that I get deeper on that. And I studied in England. I have a master's in science in psychology and counseling from the University of Derby in the United Kingdom. And I went to Finland in the same time. The master's was online. So in the same time, I was in Finland researching the greatest educational system in the globe right now. And I got accepted as a researcher at the University of Eastern Finland at the Department of Adult Education and Psychology. And I was responsible for the intercultural education aspect, doing a research with a great global group of experts in education, and we were creating e-learnings, open learnings for adults. So I was doing also my master's in psychology in the same time online in England. And after that, I did my internship as a psychologist at the University of Eastern Finland. And my specialization was mindfulness, relaxation techniques, and I jumped into the world of mindfulness. And in India, you know a lot about mindfulness because I learned regarding also the religious aspects, Hinduism, and all these different aspects actually that religions are teaching from different perspectives. And I studied that. I studied meditation. I studied relaxing strategies, emotion regulation, how to calm down the nervous system, and infinite abundance of knowledge that exists scientifically as well, because we have been proving all these ancient techniques that people are knowing in many different countries from different perspectives. So I managed to have a great, unique perspective of all these things together with science. So healing strategies, well-being, mindfulness, and science, neuropsychology, psychology. And that's what right now I'm offering through this training online. And I'm teaching people regarding all this and how to be cleansing their energy and having great emotional intelligence and feeling great, feeling more happy, improving their health, having more peace and joy, and helping others too, without struggling, but with helping yourself first.
Amazing. You're having a literally amazing background. And from childhood, I can say 15, at the age of 15, you was traveling in the world. So you are very...
And I'm 28, by the way, right now. And living in France, because I moved to France, because I love the French language. I love languages. I was learning throughout my journey also the languages. Turkish in Turkey, in Czech Republic, Czech, and from all the people I was meeting, a little bit of their language. And I decided in Finland, when I was living in Finland, the language was so hard. Even though I'm loving languages and I'm learning easily, Finnish for me was a greatly difficult language. I could speak a little bit because I was working also in a restaurant, in customer service in the same time. I was working in sales, I was working in many corporate jobs as well to have money throughout my journey. And I was learning languages, but I decided my favorite language in the world is French, and I wanted to learn. So that's why I moved to France without knowing any French.
Oh.
And I studied here, yes, and now I'm trilingual in French, English, and Greek. So I'm speaking fluently French. I worked in a Montessori and bilingual school in Paris, in one of the greatest schools here. And right now I'm working independently as a psychologist. I also worked as a psychologist in a center of adults with mental health severe diagnoses like schizophrenia and bipolar and things, very serious. But it was amazing. I mean, I love people, and you might think that it's something scaring. You're hearing what are you feeling when you're hearing schizophrenia? Something too dangerous, right?
No. Actually, I know a bit about that because I also have learned about psychology a bit. So I'm not afraid of that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I
great.
Understand.
So, okay, because many probably to explain, because people are listening, maybe they have no idea what is that. You know, diagnosis, even you might have a diagnosis who are listening. that doesn't define who you are. It's actually something that we have created, human beings, to be able to, people give labels because that's helping them in their brain to have a structure and to recognize how to help better some people. So, all ages, babies to very old people. And I've learned that we are all having exactly the same emotions, and we're human beings. This is a huge global, glamorous, great family. And when I'm saying glamorous, it's coming glamour. The word glamour is coming from golden amour. Amour in French means love. So it's golden, loving energy. And I'm I'm having a training called Grow and Glow, because growth is actually in the mindset, growing your mental capacity and your knowledge and your mental flexibility, as I'm calling it, which is the ability of seeing people and situations from different perspectives, and to be able to solve problems, because that's problem solving, the ability of the mind to be creative and to see different perspectives of one situation. So each person has a different perspective, and people with a diagnosis have different perspectives. They can see something that you don't see. It's something greater. It's something, people with autism, people with Asperger, people with, I don't know, even schizophrenia, bipolar, they are not actually less strong than you, me, you who are listening. They are having something special. They are having something that you don't have. And it's something richer. So we can all be learning from each other. If you're discussing with a person who has something like this, a diagnosis, I have been discussing because I have been working with them, you're learning. And you're having so much fun. We're having fun together. We're dancing together. I was teaching, dances, and in the last center I was working, we were going also, I was going excursions with them and trips. And we were having so great fun together. And it's something, of course, you are teaching them, but you are learning as well. There is always an exchange. And if you are having the knowledge of what's that and how to be putting healthy limits, and instead of being scared, going from that scarcity mindset to the open, highest self mindset, because you are having the ability to see beauty, to see a greater possibility and a greater being, and to learn something new. And if you're open, without being scared, but with putting healthy boundaries, that's a skill. That's something I'm teaching after I have been learning this through my journey. And it's very important to be putting healthy boundaries, to be protecting your energy and yourself and your body, because we're having 5 elements of being. It's the physical, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing through senses, touch, vision, smell, listening, taste, what else? Do I forget something?
Sensations.
Yes, sensation, touching. So
that's fine.
Everything related to senses, yes, that's the physical word, right? But then we have, how many fingers do you have in one hand?
5.
Right. So physical, what you're seeing and touching and experiencing and smelling and listening is only one finger. The second finger is the emotional being. Emotional being is what you are feeling, and that's something that's totally unique, but also connecting with all the others. The third one is the mental being, mental health. Mental being is your thoughts, what you are thinking. And again, connected to the others, but unique. The fourth one is the energetic being. Around our body, what we can touch and see. And actually people are seeing energies. There are people who have this training of seeing energies. They are seeing different colors. For example, they can tell you if you're having a great healed and clean energy, or if there is something negative. They can see it also. People can feel it, but people also can see it. And around our body is our energetic field. Imagine it's like a sphere around you that you can't see, but you can feel. Even if right now you put your hand and you do this, you're starting. Let's do it. Put your hand like this.
Yeah.
And do start breathing from the nose. And close your eyes. And keep doing circles and start feeling. You start feeling something, right? It's your energy. Do you start feeling something that is not something that you can touch, but you're feeling something, right?
Yeah.
So this is just an example. I'm showing through my training strategies to be cleansing energy, to be directing energy, to be healing your energy, because energy is everywhere. This is something also I'm teaching you through this training. I'm offering how to be cleansing energy, how to be uplifting energy, and having it for you, but also transmitting it through all your interactions. And that's something that you're using to be having great results in everything you want to be having. If you're working in coaching and clients, you are having great transformational results through energetic healing, through energy. Even if you're working in sales or whatever you're doing, any profession you have, energy is everything. Because if you have clean energy and high energy and transmitting it and knowing how to direct it, you're achieving every global good. And the fifth element of being, we talked about physical, emotional, energetic, mental, and the fifth one is spiritual. It's our soul. And spiritual is something also that scientifically, I'm a science, and we have been proving that in science, neuropsychology, that spirit actually is something that has been traveling. It's something that you are born with a body, a new body, but your spirit is old. Your spirit has been traveling. It depends. There is also an age of the spirit, and actually we have been finding through, it's called Akashic fields, Akasha therapy. It's something I have been doing also. It's scientifically, it's a methodology in psychology that you are accessing the Akashic fields is what we are calling God. Imagine that there is a huge library and there are things regarding your soul from the beginning to the end. Every information, every idea, every thought, every experience, everything you have been living is there. It's like a huge library, and every book is a soul, basically. And there are therapists, the Akasha therapists, for example, that are entering in those fields and can be taking a negative information. For example, if you have a blockage, let's say with, I don't know, money, you cannot be receiving huge amounts of money, for example, or you are having a blockage in love and you cannot be connecting with other people. You are having this because of past experiences. There is something blocking that, because maybe in a previous life you had a negative experience and you promised to yourself that I will not be allowing myself to have money, for example, because that was good for you at that point. So this is something greatly possible right now, to be changing that and going there to that library, of course, under the guidance of a therapist. This is someone who has been studying this, and I'm offering this possibility in my training because I have a colleague who is a CASA therapist. She's a psychologist and has been learning this methodology, and we have been working a lot together. So you are having that possibility as well to be doing that if you want. So you're choosing a theme, and she's entering this Akashic field and finding what's blocking you, why, and she's taking that information, she's letting you know, and then she's taking the greatest, highest positive information, all right, from your highest self, and she's rewriting that. So she's deleting the negative and she's rewriting a positive one, because there is information. We cannot be deleting something. There is always information, but we are changing it from negative to positive. And you are having that on a DNA level permanently. So that's how permanently the self-limiting thoughts, negative blockages, and everything that is stopping your success is gone forever. And then I'm working on all the other 4 elements of existence, so that you're seeing the results in the physical, which is the first one, field, and you're actually experiencing greater, you're attracting greater, you're living greater, you're feeling greater. So you're seeing this also practically and receiving everything you want.
That's great.
That's how basically, yeah.
So mindfulness and inclusivity are the key aspects of your work. Can you share with us how these principles can contribute to personal and professional growth?
Of course. Actually, everything can be improving through mindfulness and this work, because actually it's 5 elements, all right? The being, our being, is consisted of all these 5. So when you're working just with one, in well-being, for example, physically, in the physical being, you cannot be changing totally, because you are not working on all 5 elements. There might be something in your soul that is blocking you. There might be something in your energy. There might be something in your mental subconscious. The thoughts that you are not listening, the thoughts that are in the background always, and you are not acknowledging them. You can access them through strategies also. And teaching this like hypnosis, and there are many strategies to access the subconscious thoughts, and mindfulness and meditation and breathing work, and it's strategies that I'm teaching in this training. And you might be having something emotional, because also the emotional being is something separate and connected to others. And it's greatly important to be working with all 5 elements. And it depends on how many, past traumas you had, some experiences that were blocking you in the past, each being has a different journey. You have been living on this earth with your body, How old are you?
I'm 24.
24. You're 24 physically, but your soul, we don't know the age of your soul. You have been traveling and traveling and traveling throughout the history in different forms. You could be, I don't know, something else before, and a human being, you know, in a different era, but doing something completely different. So all these experiences, we're carrying them with you. And in the physical being, alright, in the first thing, even from the time you were created in your mother's belly, you have memories. Even though you might not be remembering right now everything, actually your body remembers. So people who have been physically receiving abuse, for example, they might not be remembering everything because it might happen when you were a baby. It's something that your body remembers. It's something in your subconscious, and you might be experiencing through, I don't know, difficulties mentally, or unhealthy boundaries, or with your relationships. You might be experiencing pain. You might be experiencing difficulty in connecting with others and trusting yourself, trusting others. Any difficulty you're experiencing, there is something in those 5 elements of your being that needs work. And that's why we're working on all those and finding where does it come from and how to be changing it to be freeing you, releasing that negative thing and changing to a positive one. And that's how you're having great, holistic, gorgeous being. Not just well-being, but gorgeous, great, glamorous, peaceful, healthy, and joyful being.
Yeah, and you work with the individuals on their personal and professional development. What are the some
Yes.
common challenges you see people facing in today's fast-paced world?
In the personal aspect or the professional aspect?
Anything you want to share, like you experience, which you have.
So something very common is confidence, because it's something that people have been, learning from a very young age to be limiting themselves, to be, trying to fit in and trying to be someone else, to be loved, to be feeling accepted, to be feeling recognized, to be feeling seen, to be feeling, included. And it's something we're working on together, me and you, one-to-one. So if you're someone who is having low self-esteem, confidence issues, and you're feeling suppressed, and you know you're greater, you're having things inside you that want to go outside and be successful and be sharing them with others confidently and strongly without trembling, you can message me, you can do it, you can contact me, and we're working towards resolving that so that you're uplifting your confidence and your self-esteem without being egoistic. This is something also very common globally, that people are feeling that when you're caring regarding your being, it's something that it's your ego. No, it's different. And this is also a great distinguish between those two. I'm teaching in my training that you're self-caring, as we said, because it's the number one thing that you need to be doing for helping others. So it's great. It's the opposite. You're gladfully helping others when you are feeling great. If you're not feeling great, how are you going to help others? Imagine, it's literally like this. When there is a fire in a house and the firefighters don't have the equipment and you're just going with your swimsuit like, ooh, yes, let's go to help. and you're burning. You're dying, so you're not helping. And it's the same exactly in all areas of your being, in all levels. Whenever you're wanting to help someone, if you're not helped first, you cannot be helping anybody. And actually, you're going to be diminishing your well-being. You will be suffering. So when you're suffering, everybody else in your environment is suffering because people are loving you genuinely. All people want you to be greatly positive and want the greatest being. You as a great being. They want you to be feeling great, to be feeling happy, and to be teaching them something great for themselves too, because all people, of course, they enjoy learning, they have curiosity, they have... When you were a baby, you were all so greatly interested in learning new things, in climbing a chair, for example, and, jumping on trees, going outside and discovering the world, and you were loving it. And there was an adult grabbing you and stopping you from, doing something, just sometimes because it was greatly important for your physical being. For example, if you were trying to jump, I don't know, from a very high table, and you were a little baby, and you would hit, and you would break a leg. Yes, that was great that people were stopping you, but sometimes stopping you just because you were doing something annoying for them. They were in a bad mood, they were, I don't know, tired, so they were, limiting you, and they were trying sometimes also to help, but without knowing. They didn't have this pedagogical knowledge, and that's why in my training I'm always teaching you great pedagogical strategies that I have learned, even though you might be not a teacher, even though you don't have children. It's your child, inner child, you need to be greatly healing and teaching. And you're teaching others through your being, through your talking with them, through your interaction, through your living. You're always teaching others, and you're teaching, first of all, your being every day. You're managing your being. You're a great manager of your being. So that's why I'm teaching you great pedagogical teaching and management skills to be, firstly, your greatest manager, leader, teacher, mother, pedagogist. Pedagogist is coming, pedagogical, and agogi means in Greek, teaching, transmitting something. So pedagogy is something that is transmitting, you're transmitting knowledge, and you're guiding, actually, it's guidance. So you're guiding your inner child, and you're healing it, you're loving it again, you're connecting with it again, and you're forgiving it, and you are forgiven because your inner child remembers everything. So when you were a child, a baby, and you were suppressed, you were scared, you were sad, there were things happening to you, and you were not understanding why, and you were crying, and you were feeling, that this is unfair, and you couldn't accept it, but you were you were obliged to suppress and cover many things in your inner being. And all these things, through my training, are going outside clear and forgiven, and actually you are understanding everything, so that your inner child is in peace. And that's how you're finding peace inside your being, first of all, to be having peace with others, to be feeling great and not angry, anger is coming from within, It's because you are having anger with your inner child. It's this battle with your inner thought, your inner child, basically. And we're firstly building a great relationship with. So yes, it's greatly important to be reconnecting with your inner child and to be teaching it. And I'm showing you all these the greatest pedagogical and management, leadership, guidance skills you need and strategies to be doing this daily. It's a process. It's 5 steps. So I'm teaching you in 5 weeks, the earliest 5 weeks. It can take 5 weeks to 5 months, according to your needs. This process to be healing and to be completely transforming to a greater being yourself and everything in your life.
Thank you, Irene, for sharing your expertise and insights with us today. Your passion,
you're welcome.
Your passion for personal and professional development is truly inspiring.
Thank you. And I'm wishing that whoever is listening and you are also, starting to be more mindful. Actually, a great tip that you can start from today is to be using your nose. This is a great tip for relaxing, first of all, your nervous system. So you don't need anything fancy to be healing yourself. I'm a psychologist and I'm not using medicine. Genuinely, whenever I'm sick, I'm just healing myself, because this is something also I'm teaching you through this training, how to be self-healing with vitamins, like vitamin C and different vitamins according to your needs. I'm not against medicine if it's something obligatory, if it's something very serious, an affection, but everything is possible to be healed without medicine, with great techniques. And I'm welcoming you to message me, to contact me, and to be. I'm gladfully sharing with you all these great strategies and knowledge with great pleasure, so that you're transmitting it also with your clients and globally, because through your being, you are transmitting great highest energy with all the globe, everyone and every being around you. So I'm looking forward to be coaching you and all others who are listening, to be sharing with you all these great golden knowledge and strategies. And together we are stronger, together we grow and glow, and you will be learning how to scale up everything in your being, in your life, in your business, and everything is going to be growing and glowing. But you will be looking younger. Everything is going to be growing backwards, the physical appearance, as I'm saying, because you will be always looking younger through these training strategies that I'm teaching you.
Fantastic. We'll make sure to include those in our show notes. And thank you, Irene, and to all our listeners, stay tuned for more episodes of How I Got Successful. Thank you so much, Irene.
Great. Thank you too for having me. Have a great, gorgeous week, everybody.
Yeah.